controversy has erupted after the Europa League final between Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur ended 1-0 in favour of Spurs, but now VAR officials have admitted to a shocking error that led to the only goal of the game. A clear foul on Harry Maguire was completely ignored in the build-up, and now the officiating body says the goal should not have stood. Manchester United fans are furious, and manager Ruben Amorim has demanded answers. Is this the final straw for VAR in European football? How many more major finals will be decided by technology gone wrong? Watch the full breakdown of the scandal, reactions from fans, and what this means for the future of the game. When technology fails, the Europa League final that left football fans questioning everything. Picture this: you're watching the biggest match of your team's season. The atmosphere is electric, millions are glued to their screens worldwide, and then, the unthinkable happens. A goal that changes everything, celebrated by thousands, only to be revealed later as the result of a critical officiating error. This isn't just any match we're talking about, this is the Europa League final, and the controversy that followed has sent shockwaves through the football world. The night that changed everything. The stage was set in Bilbao for what promised to be a memorable Europa League final. Two English giants, Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur, faced off in a clash that had everything: history, rivalry, and the promise of European glory. For both clubs, this wasn't just another match, it was a chance to salvage what had been challenging seasons and give their fans something to celebrate. Tottenham entered the final carrying the weight of their supporters' dreams. After years of near misses and heartbreak, here was their opportunity to finally lift a major trophy. The pressure was immense, but so was the determination. On the other side, Manchester United arrived with their own hunger for success, looking to add another European trophy to their impressive collection. The match itself was a tense affair, as finals often are. Both teams knew that one moment of brilliance or one crucial mistake could decide everything. As the minutes ticked by, it seemed like the game might head to extra time or even penalties. Then came the moment that would spark weeks of debate and controversy. The goal that started it all. In what appeared to be a routine attacking move, Tottenham managed to break the deadlock. The ball hit the back of the net, and the Spurs faithful erupted in celebration. Players embraced, fans wept with joy, and for a moment, everything seemed perfect for the North London club. The scoreline read 1-0, and that single goal would prove to be enough to secure the trophy. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. What should have been a straightforward celebration quickly became clouded by controversy. Sharp-eyed viewers and analysts began to notice something troubling in the build-up to the goal. There appeared to be a clear foul on Manchester United's Harry Maguire that went completely unnoticed by both the on-field officials and, crucially, the VAR team. How does such a significant incident get missed in an age where every touch, every movement, every potential infringement is supposed to be scrutinized by multiple cameras and experienced officials? This question would soon become the center of a heated debate that extends far beyond just this one match. The admission that shocked football. What happened next was unprecedented. In a move that stunned the football community, VAR officials came forward with an admission that sent shockwaves through the sport. They acknowledged that a clear foul had indeed been committed against Harry Maguire in the build-up to Tottenham's winning goal. More importantly, they stated that the goal should not have been allowed to stand. This wasn't just any minor technical infringement that could be debated endlessly by pundits and fans. According to the officials themselves, this was a clear and obvious error that directly impacted the outcome of one of European football's most prestigious finals. The implications were staggering. For Manchester United fans, this admission felt like salt in an already painful wound. Their team had just lost a major final, and now they were learning that the decisive goal shouldn't have counted in the first place. The sense of injustice was overwhelming, and it didn't take long for their frustration to boil over into outright anger. The manager's response. Manchester United's manager, Ruben Amorim, found himself in an impossible position. How do you respond to such a revelation? How do you explain to your players, your fans, and the media that your team was essentially robbed of a fair chance at European glory by a technological system that was supposed to ensure justice? Amorim's response was swift and decisive. He demanded answers from the officiating body, refusing to let this incident slide quietly into football history. His reaction reflected not just his own frustration, but the collective anger of everyone associated with Manchester United. This was about more than just one match, it was about the integrity of the sport itself. The Portuguese manager's demands for accountability resonated with many in the football community. After all, if VAR can fail so spectacularly in such a high-profile match, what does that say about its reliability in less scrutinized games? These are the questions that keep football administrators awake at night. The fan reaction, a community divided. The football community's response was as divided as you might expect. Manchester United supporters were understandably furious, feeling that their team had been cheated out of a legitimate chance at victory. Social media platforms were flooded with angry posts, demanding everything from the match to be replayed to the complete abolition of VAR. But what about Tottenham fans? They found themselves in an equally difficult position. Their team had won the trophy, their first major silverware in years, but now that victory was being questioned. Some argued that they shouldn't be punished for the officials' mistakes, while others struggled with the knowledge that their triumph might not have been entirely deserved. This situation highlights one of the most challenging aspects of modern football. When technology fails, it doesn't just affect the teams involved, it impacts entire communities of supporters who invest their emotions, time, and money into following their clubs. The ripple effects of such controversies extend far beyond the 90 minutes on the pitch. VAR under the microscope. This incident has reignited the ongoing debate about VAR's place in modern football. When the technology was first introduced, it was hailed as a revolutionary step forward that would eliminate controversial decisions and ensure fairer outcomes. The promise was simple: use technology to get the big decisions right. However, as this Europa League final demonstrates, VAR is only as good as the people operating it. The technology itself didn't fail, the human element did. This raises uncomfortable questions about training, protocols, and accountability within the VAR system. Critics have long argued that VAR has sucked the spontaneity and emotion out of football. Every goal celebration is now tentative, every penalty appeal scrutinized to death, and every marginal decision debated endlessly. But supporters of the system maintain that getting decisions right is more important than preserving the game's traditional flow. Manchester United's Europa League dreams ended in heartbreak after a 1-0 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur in the final, and the spotlight is firmly on goalkeeper Andre Onana. A shocking first-half blunder handed Spurs the only goal of the game, and United legend Rio Ferdinand didn't hold back in his post-match reaction. Speaking on BT Sport, Ferdinand blasted Onana, shouting, "Get out, Manchester United don't need you," in one of the most brutal pundit takedowns of the season. The high-profile error has reignited questions about Onana's future under manager Ruben Amorim, with fans calling for a change in goal. Heartbreak in Bilbao, how one goalkeeper error changed everything. Picture this: 90 minutes that could define careers, crush dreams, and create legends. That's exactly what unfolded in Bilbao when Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur faced off in what many are calling one of the most dramatic Europa League finals in recent memory. But sometimes, football's cruelest moments come not from brilliant goals or tactical masterstrokes, but from simple human error. What happens when a single mistake costs your team European glory? Manchester United fans discovered that painful truth as their Europa League dreams crumbled in the most unexpected way possible. The stage was set for glory. European finals don't come around often for Premier League clubs. When they do, the pressure is immense, the stakes are sky high, and every touch of the ball matters more than usual. For Tottenham, this represented something even more significant, a chance to end their 17-year wait for major silverware. Both teams arrived in Bilbao carrying the hopes of millions of supporters. Manchester United, with their rich European heritage, were looking to add another chapter to their continental story. Tottenham, despite a disappointing domestic campaign, had saved their best performances for Europe's second-tier competition. The atmosphere in the Spanish city was electric. Fans from both North London and Manchester had travelled thousands of miles for this moment. Little did they know that the match would be decided not by a moment of brilliance, but by a costly error that would dominate headlines for weeks to come. When dreams turn to nightmares. Have you ever watched a moment that seemed to happen in slow motion? That's exactly how Andre Onana's first-half mistake felt to Manchester United supporters around the world. The Cameroonian goalkeeper, who had been brought in to solve United's goalkeeping problems, instead created the biggest one of all. In a moment that will haunt him for years, Onana's handling error gifted Tottenham the opening they needed. Sometimes in football, it's not about what you do right, it's about avoiding doing something catastrophically wrong. But what exactly happened? The details of the mistake show just how fine the margins are in top-level football. One moment of poor concentration, one lapse in technique, and suddenly you're the villain in your team's story instead of the hero. Brennan Johnson, right place, right time. While Onana was experiencing his worst nightmare, Brennan Johnson was living his greatest dream. The Welsh winger, who has had his fair share of criticism this season, found himself perfectly positioned to capitalise on the goalkeeper's error. Johnson's goal wasn't pretty, described as scrappy by many observers, but in finals, style points don't matter. Only the scoreline counts, and his late first-half strike proved to be worth its weight in gold. Sometimes the most important goals are the ugliest ones. The young forward celebration told the whole story. This wasn't just any goal, this was the goal that could define his career. In years to come, Tottenham fans will remember exactly where they were when Johnson scored the goal that ended their trophy drought. Defensive heroics keep dreams alive. Scoring first in a final is one thing, holding onto that lead is another challenge entirely. Tottenham knew that Manchester United would throw everything at them in the second half. The response from Ange Postecoglou's side was impressive, showing a defensive resolve that had been questioned throughout their Premier League campaign. The standout moment came from Mickey van de Ven, whose goal-line clearance was every bit as important as Johnson's goal. Picture the scene, a Manchester United attack bearing down on goal, the ball destined for the net, and then suddenly, a defender appears from nowhere to hack the ball clear. These are the moments that define finals. While everyone remembers the goals, it's often the saves, the tackles, and the clearances that truly determine who lifts the trophy. Van de Ven's intervention was a reminder that football is as much about preventing goals as it is about scoring them. When legends speak, everyone listens. Football punditry can be brutal, but rarely do we see reactions as explosive as Rio Ferdinand's post-match analysis. The former Manchester United captain, normally measured in his criticism, let his emotions show in spectacular fashion. "Get out, Manchester United don't need you," these weren't just words spoken in the heat of the moment. They represented the frustration of a club legend watching his beloved team lose a major final due to an avoidable mistake. Ferdinand's reaction sparked debate across social media and in football circles. Was his criticism too harsh? Or was it the kind of honest assessment that modern football sometimes lacks? Former players often struggle with the balance between supporting their old clubs and providing objective analysis. Sometimes, emotion wins out. The incident highlighted something important about football culture. When you wear the Manchester United shirt, the expectations are enormous. Fair or not, mistakes are magnified, and the pressure can be overwhelming. The bigger picture, what this means for both clubs. Beyond the immediate drama, this final result has significant implications for both teams. For Tottenham, ending their 17-year trophy drought changes everything. The criticism about being a club that doesn't win when it matters most can finally be put to rest, at least for now. How important is it for a club like Tottenham to break that psychological barrier? Winning breeds confidence, and confidence breeds more winning. This Europa League triumph could be the catalyst for bigger things at the North London club. For Manchester United, the questions are more difficult. Another final lost, another opportunity missed. The pressure on manager Ruben Amorim intensifies, and decisions about key players like Onana become even more complex. The goalkeeper dilemma. Goalkeeping is perhaps the most unforgiving position in football. One mistake can overshadow months of good performances. Onana's situation perfectly illustrates this harsh reality. Brought in as a solution, he's now become part of the problem in many fans' eyes. What does this mean for his future at Old Trafford? The goalkeeper's confidence could be shattered, or it could serve as motivation to prove his doubters wrong. History shows us that the best goalkeepers often bounce back stronger from their lowest moments. the debate about whether United should look for a new number one will rage on. But football has taught us that sometimes the players who make the biggest mistakes can become the ones who deliver the most important saves. Tottenham's European renaissance. While much focus fell on Manchester United's disappointment, Tottenham's achievement deserves proper recognition. Controversy surrounds the Europa League final after VAR admitted to a crucial error that influenced the outcome of the match between Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. The final ended 1-0 in favour of Spurs, but a key decision leading to the goal has now been acknowledged as a mistake by the officiating body. When technology fails, the Europa League final that changed everything. Picture this: you've waited years, maybe even decades, for your team to lift a major trophy. The final whistle blows, confetti falls, and your players are celebrating. But then, hours later, you discover that the goal that decided everything came from a referee's mistake, one that technology was supposed to prevent. This isn't a nightmare scenario. It's exactly what happened when Tottenham Hotspur beat Manchester United 1-0 in the Europa League final at San Mamés Stadium in Bilbao. What should have been a straightforward celebration for Spurs fans has turned into one of football's most talked about controversies. The match that had everything. The Europa League final between these two English giants promised drama, and it delivered, just not in the way anyone expected. Tottenham walked away as champions, ending their long wait for major silverware. For a club that has often been the subject of jokes about their trophy cabinet, this victory represented something much bigger than just another piece of metal. But Manchester United didn't go down without a fight. Manager Ruben Amorim's post-match interview painted the picture of a team that felt they had done enough to win. "We were in control of the game, especially in the second half," he told TNT Sports, his voice carrying the weight of disappointment that every football fan knows too well. The Portuguese manager went on to explain how his team had started the match well, creating chances and dominating play. "We had clear chances to score, but we didn't score," he admitted, highlighting football's cruel truth: sometimes the better team doesn't win. When VAR becomes the villain. Here's where this story takes a turn that will be debated in pubs, living rooms, and social media for years to come. The video assistant referee system, introduced to eliminate controversial decisions and bring fairness to the game, has now admitted to making a crucial error that influenced the match outcome. Think about that for a moment. VAR was created specifically to catch the mistakes that human referees might miss. It was supposed to be football's safety net, the technology that would finally put an end to the what-if conversations that have tortured fans for generations. Instead, it has become the center of the biggest controversy surrounding a European final in recent memory. The goal that started it all. The match-winning goal for Tottenham didn't just secure them the trophy, it came from what officials now acknowledge was a key decision error. While the exact details of the mistake haven't been fully disclosed, the admission from the officiating body sends shockwaves through the football world. How does this happen in 2025? How does a system designed to provide clarity instead create confusion? These are the questions that Manchester United fans, and football supporters everywhere, are asking right now. The timing couldn't be more painful for United. Amorim described how his team lost control early in the match, conceded the goal, but then regrouped and dominated the remainder of the game. "The rest of the game we had clear chances to score," he explained, painting a picture of a team that fought back only to be denied by both poor finishing and, as it turns out, questionable officiating. A manager's perspective. Ruben Amorim's post-match interview reveals the mindset of a coach who believes his team deserved better. His tactical approach was clear: start strong, maintain control, and create chances. For the most part, his plan worked. "We started the first 5-7 minutes but lost a little control and suffered a goal," Amorim explained. This early setback could have broken many teams, but United showed character. "We started the second half quite well," the manager noted, highlighting his team's resilience. What's particularly interesting is Amorim's approach to making changes during the match. "When I felt we needed a different player, we put a different player," he said, dismissing the idea that substitution should be made just for show. This pragmatic approach speaks to a manager who trusts his instincts and isn't swayed by outside pressure. But pragmatism and good tactics can only take you so far when the crucial decisions go against you. Tottenham's long-awaited moment. While Manchester United deals with the disappointment, it's important to acknowledge what this victory means for Tottenham Hotspur. The phrase, slaking their long major trophy thirst, perfectly captures the significance of this moment for a club that has often come close but fallen short. For Spurs fans, the controversy surrounding the victory might feel bittersweet. On one hand, they've finally broken their trophy drought. On the other hand, the VAR error admission threatens to overshadow their achievement. Will this victory be remembered for the football or the controversy? The truth is, Tottenham still had to execute on the pitch. They still had to score the goal, defend their lead, and see out the match. A refereeing error might have helped, but it didn't win the trophy for them single-handedly. The bigger picture, what this means for football. This controversy raises serious questions about the current state of officiating in football. If VAR can't get the big decisions right in the biggest matches, what's the point of having it at all? The system was introduced with such promise. Finally, referees would have the technology to review crucial decisions. Finally, that hand of God moments that had defined football history would become a thing of the past. Finally, fans could trust that the right team would win. Yet here we are, discussing a Europa League final that might have had a different outcome if the technology had worked as intended. The emotional toll. Think about what this means for the Manchester United players who gave everything in that final. Think about the fans who travelled to Bilbao, who spent their hard-earned money on tickets, hotels, and flights, only to watch their team lose to what officials now admit was an error. Football is an emotional game, and moments like these cut deep. Players' careers are defined by these big matches. For some United players, this might have been their best chance at European glory. For others, it might have been their last. The human cost of officiating errors extends far beyond the 90 minutes on the pitch. Learning from controversy. What can football learn from this situation? First, the transparency from the officiating body in admitting the error is commendable. Too often, controversial decisions are swept under the rug or defended despite clear evidence to the contrary. But admission isn't enough. The football community needs to see concrete steps taken to prevent similar situations in the future. How can VAR be improved? What additional training do officials need? What technology might help eliminate these errors? These are the conversations that need to happen in boardrooms across Europe. The fan's perspective. Perhaps most importantly, this controversy highlights the relationship between football and its supporters. Fans invest emotionally, financially, and personally in their teams. Manchester United executives hold face-to-face Liam Delap transfer talks. Manchester United executives have held face-to-face talks with Liam Delap and are advancing on a move for Matheus Cunha. Delap, 22, was given permission by Ipswich Town to travel to Manchester to get a first-hand sense of what a transfer to Old Trafford would entail. United have competition from several clubs, including Chelsea, and Delap is expected to enter meaningful discussions with all suitors before taking time to decide his move. Delap's £30 million, $40 million, release clause, activated by Ipswich relegation, has made him an appealing target after he scored 12 goals in his debut Premier League campaign. United are also progressing negotiations on Cunha, 25, and there is hope a deal can be struck for when the transfer window opens on June 1st. Talks have so far centered on Cunha's personal terms, with both parties working towards an agreement. United are yet to approach Wolves directly about payment terms on Cunha's £62.5 million release clause, but there is an expectation this stage would be a relative formality. Wolves are open to accepting instalments. The agreement built into Cunha's contract outlines that the fee is to be paid in 3 installments, the first chunk on signing, then 2 equal shares over the next 2 years, but it remains to be seen if United try to negotiate more favourable terms. United have the finances to sign Delap and Cunha irrespective of how Wednesday's Europa League final against Tottenham Hotspur goes, where the winners will secure Champions League football for next season. Other options in the forward positions have been considered, including Brentford's Brian Bumo, Sporting CP's Victor Gyökeres, and Napoli's Victor Osimhen. Why Delap is so coveted? Analysis from senior data analyst Mark Carey, from May 6. Having scored 34% of Ipswich League goals, the fourth highest share of any player, Delap has often been tasked with generating his own chances with limited service from his teammates. In a counter-attacking Ipswich side, Delap's powerful, driving runs forward have been a theme of his season, as he has shouldered much of the attacking responsibility with a return of 10 non-penalty goals, at a rate of 1 in 3, for his efforts. Whether it is thumping finishes from range or delicate flicks at the near post, Delap is in a rush to get on the score sheet. A desire to get forward is the bare minimum for a striker, but Delap is something of a throwback, an out-and-out striker who is desperate to stretch the opposition back line. This is highlighted in Delap's skill corner profile below, denoting his off-ball run types as a share of his total runs made. Runs ahead of the ball or in behind opposition defences take up a healthy amount of Delap's running real estate, with a large share of cross-receiver runs towards goal to receive a possible cross, showing a player who thrives at the sharp end of his side's attack. Manchester United are reported to have held direct talks with Ipswich Town striker Liam Delap, who is also a key transfer target for Chelsea. Delap has enjoyed an impressive individual Premier League campaign, racking up 12 goals in 36 games for an Ipswich side whose relegation saw a release clause of £30 million, $40.1 million, become active in his contract. Chelsea have been linked with Delap for the majority of the campaign, but United recently signalled their intent to rival the Blues by making him their top striker target for the summer transfer window, and the Athletic State talks have now been held over a possible switch to Old Trafford. Delap was reportedly granted permission by Ipswich to travel up to Manchester for face-to-face talks with United, with the 22-year-old keen to explore all his options before making a final decision. Indeed, Delap is expected to hold a meaningful talks with each of his suitors, including Chelsea, as he prepares to take the jump and switch clubs this summer. United want Delap to be part of an attacking rebuild which is expected to be spearheaded by the arrival of Wolverhampton Wanderers forward Matheus Cunha. Progress has been made in talks with the Brazil international, who is thought to be prioritising a move to Old Trafford over interest from elsewhere. An agreement over personal terms is not yet finalised but is moving in the right direction. Cunha is seen as an attacking midfielder by United manager Ruben Amorim, who has been impressed by the 25-year-old's performances in a similar 3-4-2-1 setup to the one which he has so far struggled to implement at Old Trafford. United are planning to trigger Cunha's release clause of £62.5 million, $83.5 million, once the transfer window opens on June 1st, and are understood to have the necessary finances to pursue deals for both Cunha and Delap regardless of whether they win Wednesday's Europa League final and qualify for the Champions League. Why Man United want Cunha for a number 10 role? Analysis by Manchester United correspondent Laurie Whitwell. Cunha's familiarity with that position behind the striker in a 3-4-2-1 formation enhances his appeal for United, who want adaptable players but also need new signings to hit the ground running. Cunha's record against United inevitably colours perceptions too. He terrorised Erik Ten Hag's side when running from midfield on the opening day of the 2023-24 season and, of course, scored direct from a corner past Andre Onana at Molino this term. Cunha's ball carrying is an important aspect to consider in an Amorim system. Usually, Amorim has a blend in his number 10s, one a creator, the other tasked with running beyond. Cunha could offer a bit of both, but his ability to go past opponents would add dynamism and, importantly, he can carry a scoring edge. There may be questions about temperament given his bans for reactions against Ipswich and Bournemouth, and his work off the ball at Wolves left some staff wanting more. But he has 12 and 15 Premier League goals in consecutive seasons, after getting 2 in 17 games while on loan for half a campaign, which is proof of his pedigree. Rasmus Højlund got 10 Premier League goals last term, but only 3 this year, while Alejandro Garnacho, who plays as the ball-carrying number 10 under Amorim, has 7 and 6. The summer window does not open for another 12 days, but major deals are already being working on, and wrapped up, across Europe. Reports out of Portugal claim that Arsenal have agreed a £59 million deal for Victor Gyökeres as Mikel Arteta finally lands his desired striker. Nico Williams could potentially follow, with Barcelona dropping out of that race. Another big development involves Florian Wirtz, who has been tipped to be the biggest mover this summer. Manchester City have bowed out of the race amid fears of the spiralling costs, which they believe could be in excess of £250 million, leaving Liverpool and Bayern Munich as his two most likely destinations. The Reds have already signed Jeremy Frimpong and are also working on a move for Milos Kerkez. Elsewhere, Manchester United are expected to sign Matheus Cunha for £62.5 million and have held talks with Liam Delap, who is also a target for Chelsea and Tottenham. Brian Bumo has also been tipped for a big money move, along with Eberechi, while Jurgen Klopp could be making a surprise return to management. The first part of the summer transfer window isn't open for another 12 days, but Premier League clubs aren't twiddling their thumbs. Man United remain in race to Victor Gyökeres, says Fabrizio Romano. In the ever-turning whirl of transfer rumours, Manchester United are keeping their foot firmly in the race for the coveted signature of striker Victor Gyökeres, even as rumours swirl about Arsenal closing in on the deal. This fascinating saga is illuminated by none other than transfer whisperer Fabrizio Romano. Earlier reports from Portuguese outlets had the Gunners fans already picturing Gyökeres donning the red and white, a substantial £58.9 million supposedly sealing the deal with Sporting Lisbon. This tidy sum fits snugly with Romano's estimate of around €65 million, a sum far from the steep €100 million release clause hanging over the talented Swede. Yet, in a twist worthy of a footballing thriller, Romano disclosed on his YouTube channel that Arsenal and Gyökeres are not yet signing on the dotted line. The chase remains wide open, with Manchester United still hot on the heels of the striker, drawing eager breaths alongside Arsenal in this thrilling pursuit. Directly tapping into Gyökeres' thoughts, Romano shares that United are as interested as ever in bringing the 26-year-old into their fold. This stokes the fires of hope for a possible reconnection between United's manager Erik ten Hag and Gyökeres, who once honed his skills under Ruben Amorim's watchful eye at Sporting. Man United are still there according to my information from Victor Gyökeres, Romano assures. Arsenal also have their eyes on him. Indeed, these two giants are leading the pack, though several clubs are sniffing around with interest. The grand stage of the Europa League final against Tottenham Hotspur in Bilbao could be the crucible that determines United's transfer power. Triumph here would not only adorn their trophy cabinet but also secure a much-coveted spot in the Champions League, bringing with it a financial windfall estimated at £100 million and making that red jersey even more appealing to top talent. With Champions League allure at stake, and Gyökeres itching to showcase his skills in Europe's grandest club competition, the pressure mounts. As the final whistle looms ever closer, fans and pundits alike will be glued to the action, knowing that victory could not just bring silverware but also strengthen United's hand in the Gyökeres sweepstakes. Man United handed Victor Gyökeres transfer bombshell as deal is agreed. Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres has been heavily linked with a move to Manchester United due to his long-standing friendship with Ruben Amorim. Manchester United have been handed a transfer bombshell after Portuguese media reports suggested on Monday that they have lost the race for Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres. The Swedish striker has been on the radar of United since November when Ineos poached his manager in Lisbon, Ruben Amorim. A clear problem for United this season has been their lack of goals, with both Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee missing as reliable threats. Gyökeres has bagged a whopping 96 goals for Sporting this season, and the fact he is familiar with the 3-4-2-1 system made it appear as though a transfer would be a match made in heaven for United. However, Arsenal have also been heavily linked with his services, having admired him for longer than the Reds. Like United, the Gunners have also struggled without a regular centre-forward presence at the top of the pitch. While their season has been more impressive than the Reds, Mikel Arteta's side are likely wanting to address that position as a priority. According to Portuguese newspaper O Jogo, that is exactly what they have done. Their front page leads with an image of Gyökeres celebrating after winning the Liga Portugal this weekend. One of the headlines next to his name reads, "Swede on his way to Arsenal." It is claimed that a £58.9 million agreement has been reached between Sporting and the Gunners, and it is only a matter of time before the transfer is made official. If true, United will be looking to reassess their options heading into the summer transfer window. Mensport understands that Ipswich Town's Liam Delap is a top target for United this summer, thanks in part to his much lower release clause of £30 million. It is also believed that Dalot's proven ability in the Premier League, as shown with 12 goals for relegated Ipswich, and his age are also seen as positives. Versatile forward Matheus Cunha is also seen as a top target for United and has a £62.5 million release clause in his Wolverhampton Wanderers contract. Man United still in hunt for Victor Gyökeres despite Arsenal rumours. Transfer drama heating up as Premier League giants battle for Sporting CP star. Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes during those nail-biting transfer windows? Well, buckle up, football fans, because the race for one of Europe's hottest strikers is getting more intense by the day. According to trusted transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, Manchester United remain firmly in the race to sign Sporting CP's goal machine Victor Gyökeres, despite growing whispers that Arsenal might be closing in on the Swedish star. Who is Victor Gyökeres? For those who haven't been following his meteoric rise, Victor Gyökeres has transformed into one of Europe's most feared forwards since joining Sporting CP from Coventry City. The Swedish international has been nothing short of sensational in Portugal, combining raw power, clinical finishing, and surprising technical ability for a striker of his physical presence. His goal-scoring record speaks for itself. After leaving the Championship, Gyökeres has proven he can perform at the highest level, terrorizing defences in both domestic competitions and European fixtures. His ability to score with both feet, dominate in the air, and create chances for teammates makes him the complete modern striker that top clubs crave. What this means for Manchester United? Manchester United's continued interest in Gyökeres tells us a lot about their transfer strategy under their current management. The Red Devils have been missing a consistent goal threat since the departure of key strikers in recent seasons, and Gyökeres could be the answer to their prayers. But what would Gyökeres bring to Old Trafford that they don't currently have? For starters, his physical presence would give United a different dimension in attack. While they have talented forwards, none combine the strength, speed, and finishing ability that Gyökeres displays week in, week out at Sporting. His ability to hold up play would also benefit the quick wingers United deploy, potentially creating more space and opportunities in the final third. Additionally, his age profile fits perfectly with the club's reported recruitment strategy, signing players entering their prime years rather than established but aging stars. At his current trajectory, Gyökeres could lead United's line for years to come. The Arsenal factor. What makes this transfer saga particularly interesting is Arsenal's reported interest. The Gunners have been making steady progress under Mikel Arteta, and adding a striker of Gyökeres' caliber could be the final piece in their puzzle to challenge for the Premier League title. But can they beat United to his signature? Both clubs have significant pulling power, rich histories, and the financial muscle to make this deal happen. The question might come down to which project appeals more to the player himself. What Fabrizio Romano's update tells us. When Fabrizio Romano speaks about transfers, football fans listen. Is Emiliano Martinez heading to Manchester United? Transfer rumours heat up. Have you ever noticed how quickly the football world moves from one season to the next? The final whistle of one campaign barely echoes before transfer speculation takes centre stage. Today's hot topic, Emiliano Martinez potentially swapping the claret and blue of Aston Villa for Manchester United's famous red. A shocking twist in United's goalkeeper saga. Manchester United fans might be doing a double take right now. After spending significant money to bring Andre Onana to Old Trafford just last summer, reports from Argentina suggest the Red Devils are already looking for his replacement. And not just any replacement, they've set their sights on World Cup winning goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. Let's take a moment to process this. Onana, brought in as David de Gea's successor, hasn't even completed a full season at United. Yet, if these reports are accurate, his position as United's number one could already be under serious threat. Why Martinez? Why now? What makes this potential move so intriguing is Martinez's status in world football. Since leaving Arsenal and joining Aston Villa, the Argentine goalkeeper has transformed into one of the Premier League's most reliable shot stoppers. His heroics during Argentina's World Cup triumph further cemented his reputation as a world-class goalkeeper who thrives under pressure. But why would United consider such a move now? Perhaps Erik ten Hag or the new football leadership at Old Trafford isn't entirely convinced by Onana's performances. Or maybe they're simply pursuing an opportunity too good to pass up if Martinez is genuinely available. The emotional farewell? According to reports, Martinez recently appeared to wave an emotional goodbye to Villa supporters, hinting that his time at the Birmingham club might be coming to an end. After contributing significantly to Villa's remarkable season under Unai Emery, which saw them secure Champions League football, such a departure would certainly sting for Villa fans. Could United be providing the Argentine with his next challenge? Reports suggest Martinez has received firm offers from 2 top European clubs. United appears to be one, with Barcelona mentioned as another potential suitor. There's also reportedly interest from the Saudi Pro League, completing the trio of offers allegedly on the table. What would Martinez bring to Old Trafford? Martinez isn't just a goalkeeper, he's a psychological force between the posts. His penalty-saving prowess and ability to get into opponents' heads, as seen during the World Cup shootouts, give him an edge in one-on-one situations. Beyond shot-stopping, Martinez excels in distribution and commanding his area, attributes that modern top-level goalkeepers must possess. His leadership qualities and winning mentality could potentially benefit a Manchester United side that has struggled for consistency. The Onana situation. The elephant in the room remains Andre Onana. The Cameroonian goalkeeper arrived at United with high expectations following his impressive performances at Ajax and later Inter Milan. While his time at Old Trafford has had both highlights and lowlight, replacing him after just one season would raise serious questions about United's transfer strategy and long-term planning. How would Onana react to such a move? Would United look to sell him, or would they attempt to maintain both goalkeepers in the squad? The latter seems unlikely given the stature of both players and their expectations of being first choice. The wider transfer market context. This potential move doesn't exist in isolation. If Martinez leaves Villa, they'll need a replacement. If Onana leaves United, he'll need a new club. Barcelona's interest in Martinez also suggests they're looking for a new goalkeeper, possibly indicating movement for their current options. Football transfers often create domino effects across leagues, and a high-profile goalkeeper moving can trigger several subsequent deals. For fans of transfer drama, this situation has all the ingredients of a summer saga. What this means for Aston Villa. Villa's remarkable progress under Unai Emery has earned them a coveted Champions League spot. Losing a key figure like Martinez just as they prepare for Europe's elite competition would be a significant blow. However, the substantial transfer fee they could command might allow them to reinvest across multiple positions. The question Villa fans will be asking, is it better to keep a world-class goalkeeper who might want to leave, or cash in and strengthen the overall squad? There's no easy answer, especially with Champions League football on the horizon. The Barcelona factor. Manchester United isn't the only giant reportedly eyeing Martinez. Barcelona's interest adds another layer of complexity to the situation. The Catalan club still holds significant pull for South American players, and the chance to become Barcelona's number 1 might tempt Martinez. For United, this means potential competition in negotiations, which could drive up both the transfer fee and wage demands. If both clubs are serious about signing the Argentine, we could see a bidding war develop. The Saudi option. The third option reportedly available to Martinez comes from the Saudi Pro League. The financial package would likely dwarf anything European clubs could offer, but it would mean stepping away from elite European competition just as Villa has qualified for the Champions League. At 31 years old, Martinez is in his goalkeeping prime. Would he consider the Saudi option at this stage of his career, or does he have unfinished business in Europe's top competitions? What does Martinez want? Amidst all the speculation, the goalkeeper's own desires remain somewhat unclear. The reported emotional goodbye to Villa fans suggests he's open to a move, but where does his preference lie? Does he want another Premier League challenge with a club of United stature? Is the allure of Barcelona too strong to resist? Or is he tempted by the financial security a Saudi move could provide? These are questions only Martinez can answer, and his decision will shape the next chapter of his already fascinating career journey. United's transfer strategy under scrutiny. If United do pursue Martinez aggressively, it will raise questions about their overall transfer strategy. After years of seemingly disjointed recruitment, fans were hoping for more coherence under the new football leadership structure. Replacing a goalkeeper after just one season doesn't necessarily align with building a stable, long-term project. However, if the club genuinely believes Martinez represents a significant upgrade that can help them challenge for major honours, perhaps it's a ruthless but necessary decision. The European context. It's worth noting that both Manchester United and Barcelona, the two European clubs reportedly interested in Martinez, are in periods of transition. United are still rebuilding under Erik ten Hag, while Barcelona continues to navigate financial challenges while trying to return to Europe's elite. For either club, signing a goalkeeper of Martinez's caliber would represent a statement of intent. But can they provide the competitive environment and stability he currently enjoys at Villa? When might this move happen? With the transfer window not officially opening until later this summer, any move is still in the preliminary stages. However, clubs often lay groundwork for major transfers well in advance, especially when multiple parties are interested. Man United handed Victor Gyökeres transfer bombshell as deal is agreed, on his way. Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres has been heavily linked with a move to Manchester United due to his long-standing friendship with Ruben Amorim. Manchester United have been handed a transfer bombshell after Portuguese media reports suggested on Monday that they have lost the race for Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres. The Swedish striker has been on the radar of United since November when Ineos poached his manager in Lisbon, Ruben Amorim. A clear problem for United this season has been their lack of goals, with both Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee missing as reliable threats. Gyökeres has bagged a whopping 96 goals for Sporting this season, and the fact he is familiar with the 3-4-2-1 system made it appear as though a transfer would be a match made in heaven for United. However, Arsenal have also been heavily linked with his services, having admired him for longer than the Reds. Like United, the Gunners have also struggled without a regular centre-forward presence at the top of the pitch. While their season has been more impressive than the Reds, Mikel Arteta's side are likely wanting to address that position as a priority. According to Portuguese newspaper O Jogo, that is exactly what they have done. Their front page leads with an image of Gyökeres celebrating after winning the Liga Portugal this weekend. One of the headlines next to his name reads, "Swede on his way to Arsenal." It is claimed that a £58.9 million agreement has been reached between Sporting and the Gunners, and it is only a matter of time before the transfer is made official. If true, United will be looking to reassess their options heading into the summer transfer window. Mensport understands that Ipswich Town's Liam Delap is a top target for United this summer, thanks in part to his much lower release clause of £30 million. It is also believed that Delap's proven ability in the Premier League, as shown with 12 goals for relegated Ipswich, and his age are also seen as positives. Versatile forward Matheus Cunha is also seen as a top target for United and has a £62.5 million release clause in his Wolverhampton Wanderers contract. The build-up, and the nerves, have begun as Ruben Amorim's men make their final preparations for the season-defining Europa League final in Bilbao. Tottenham Hotspur stand between United and a place in next season's Champions League, which would be huge considering how poor this season has been. Matheus Cunha is said to be closing in on a move to United after a fine season at Wolves. Reports suggest the Brazilian is close to agreeing personal terms over a move to Old Trafford. A place in the Champions League next season would allow United to attract a better quality of player. Reports circulating around the club claim that one such target is Aston Villa goalkeeper Emi Martinez. The pantomime villain appeared to bid an emotional farewell to the home fans on Friday night after the victory over Spurs, and it is claimed United have put an offer down to the Argentine, along with Barcelona. Elsewhere, the hunt for Ryan Cherki's signature is likely to intensify with the League One season now done. It is thought the winger will be available for £19 million in the summer, which is considered a bargain after his output for Lyon this year. Meanwhile, the race for a striker will continue to gather pace as clubs across Europe try to add to their attack. Sporting's Victor Gyökeres continues to be linked with a move to the Premier League, but his final destination of Old Trafford or Arsenal's Emirates Stadium is yet to be decided. Why Ineos may want to avoid Gyökeres' transfer? While the news that Arsenal could be closing in on Gyökeres may be seen as disheartening, there are no guarantees that the move would pan out. His goals return is phenomenal, but his only experience of regular English football was with Coventry City in the Championship. We have seen countless times before that the switch from the second tier to the Premier League and even from one country's top tier to another can be too much to bridge. Delap, on the other hand, is unquestionably cheaper, and having performed in the Premier League for a relegation-bound side, there is every chance he could be a success in Manchester. Gyökeres transfer bombshell. An alternative option to Delap would be Ruben Amorim's former Sporting striker Victor Gyökeres. He scored his 53rd goal of the season on Saturday as the Lisbon club beat their city rivals Benfica to the Portuguese league title. In the aftermath, newspaper O Jogo has run with the story that the Swede is on his way to Arsenal. Like United, the Gunners have been long-term admirers of Gyökeres, and it is claimed a £58.9 million deal for the striker is all but agreed. Former Man United midfielder makes huge prediction for Liam Delap at Old Trafford. Liam Delap has been backed to not only impress but become the main man at Manchester United by former Red Devils midfielder Luke Chadwick. The Ipswich Town striker is expected to leave the Tractor Boys this summer after an impressive season in the top flight and with the club relegated back to the Championship. The 22-year-old has scored 12 goals in the Premier League despite Ipswich struggling for results and has attracted attention from a string of clubs. Delap also appears very affordable for most top-flight clubs as his release clause is set at just £30 million, making him a gamble that looks worth taking. You only have to look at the amount of goals he's scored in the Premier League, Chadwick told Suffolk News. He seems to, particularly a few months in, have grown in arrogance, in a good way. You see him at Old Trafford and he's shoving them all over the place and he's getting stuck into it. It feels like he's at a time now where he can go and play at a top club. Unfortunately, Man United isn't the top club at the moment, but I think bringing someone like that in would be brilliant for Man United. I think it would be a brilliant move for Delap as well. Obviously, Ipswich fans aren't going to want me to say that, but he's probably going to move on. You feel he could go to one of the top 4 clubs, but I don't know if he'd play consistently. I think he could go in at Man United and be the main man. The likes of Chelsea and Newcastle have also been linked with Delap, who will hope to make a move and earn himself a place in the England squad for next summer's World Cup. There is plenty of excitement around the young forward, but another former Manchester United midfielder urges some caution over his potential signing. Paul Scholes is also a fan of Delap, but does not see him alone as the answer to Manchester United's problems up front, saying the Red Devils would need more arrivals in attack and also a forward with more experience. I like Liam Delap, but he still needs 1 or 2 more strikers with him who have got some experience, Scholes told TNT Sports. We've been down this road with Rasmus Højlund coming in as a young striker, and it hasn't quite worked out so far. Again, Delap could be another young striker going to a big club, and you just don't know what to expect with the club not in a great place at the minute. I always say that Manchester United should have 3 or 4 top strikers. Right now, they've got one who hasn't really done it, so to sign Delap would be great, but he has to be part of 2 or 3 proper centre forwards. Delap could play his last game for Ipswich on Sunday when they host West Ham on the final day of the Premier League season.